Okay, everybody, let's take it from the top.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hi ho, everybody, and welcome back to D Plus Us, the show about all things Disney. I'm one of your hosts, Griffin Tennell, Griffy Deephead, and with me, as always, is the wonderful, the amazing Mr. Mitch George. How are you doing today?
I'm so happy right now. I love this movie. Let's just get into
Such
it.
a great movie we were talking about today. One that was like, we had the realization that we hadn't done an episode on this movie. And then this episode immediately moved up into the next slot of we need to record
Yep.
this episode. We're talking about Big Hero 6, Mitch. Talking about one of the best movies Disney has made, in our opinions. We'll get into all of that.
It is my favorite Disney 3D animated or Walt Disney Animation Studios 3D film, and probably is top 2 or 3 overall.
Yeah, we'll get
I
into
love this movie.
we'll get into all of the nitty gritty on this movie, why it's awesome and why it's great, how I almost got sued by Disney because of this movie, and that is a true story.
Can't wait to get into it.
But before we do that, we do have a roll to hit. First off, thank you for listening, watching, etc. If you are listening, head on over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@DPlusUs. Hit the subscribe button to see the video version of the podcast and our other shows as well. If you're watching on YouTube, hey, we have podcast services as well where you can listen to the audio version and subscribe over there on pretty much any podcast service that exists. We just wrapped up our normal weekly show all about X-Men 97, where we talked about it episode by episode. Go ahead and check that out. Next weekly show we're very much looking forward to as well will be all about Star Wars' new show, The Acolyte. Going back into
I
the
have a
New
question
Republic
for you.
era.
Yeah, before we get out of the rigmarole, Marvel likes to do this thing with all of their films and shows where they release a documentary the week after it wraps.
Oh yeah, we should do one for it.
I was gonna say, could we count that as like a weekly like epilogue episode? Because I'm down to record that with you
Yes,
whenever.
I'm down, but I also still need to watch it.
So do I. I started watching it and I fell asleep like halfway through and I woke up like, why are we in the credits? It's 3 in the morning. Oh God, I'm
Look,
going to bed.
I've been deep in that Critical Role rabbit hole still. So
I know.
it's a never-ending rabbit hole, folks. Be warned if you ever do it. But yeah, obviously go check out all that stuff, all of our fantastic, wonderful things that we're working on. But yeah, The Acolyte will be our next weekly show with some fun new graphics, so keep an eye out for those. All that said, Big Hero 6. This year, Mitch, Big Hero 6 turns 10 years old.
Yeah, that makes me feel honestly like this isn't a film I have nostalgia for because we're getting to the point now where we're talking about Disney films that I saw for like animated films or Disney Studios films that I saw for the first time as an adult. If we talk about something like Hercules or Aladdin or The Lion King, those things I grew up with, there's that sense of nostalgia. But for this, it's just a good movie.
This is one I saw as a child. I was still in high school. I was still a child.
No, teenage years do not count as childhood.
It feels like I was a child compared to now.
There.
But yeah, Big Hero 6 in particular, especially a story about this genius child and like a bunch of college kids, essentially. Real weird feeling watching that in high school, as you're getting ready for college.
It's also strange. Like this, I'm trying to think timeline wise. When was Marvel acquired by Disney?
2009.
Yeah, so like this is 5 years after Marvel acquired Marvel was acquired by Disney. Big Hero 6 is based off a Marvel property, and there are at the end they're like Marvel like based on Marvel comic whatever, giving credit to the original creators, all that stuff. There's homages to other Marvel properties and Stan Lee in this film. I'm really surprised they didn't try to capitalize on this like in association with Marvel. Like
Really? Yeah, because the movie was pitched and started development in 2011. So a few years afterwards, 2014. By that time, what was whatever Marvel movies were coming out then? We were post Avengers.
2014 would have
Was
been
that
like
Age of Ultron?
just post Age of Ultron,
I can see why, but this is also before they were doing all their multiverse shenanigans. Like,
I suppose.
it makes sense that they would want to keep this separate. To me,
Yeah. So the 2014 films released in the MCU were Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Gotcha.
So we're actually talking pre-Age of Ultron,
Pre-Age
which
of
came out
Ultron.
May of 2015.
But not to mention, like, Big Hero 6 is so different from its comics counterpart. For the better, for what it's worth. I have mixed feelings about the Big Hero 6 comic books.
Yeah, I think they did a lot here to improve on the source material, but it would still like
Largely by throwing the source
there is a
material out the window.
there is a universe where Baymax shows up in Secret Invasion, and I want that universe to exist.
I was going to
I
say,
know it's just in my head canon.
The world
but
exists
It's technically
where,
possible. This is a branch of the Marvel multiverse. Just make it happen.
there's a
Kevin.
world that genuinely, honestly already exists where Big Hero 6 teamed up with Spider-Man. I think it was like Ends of the Earth.
One of the Spider-Man.
It was the
crossover
well, no, it was
projects.
no, it was the it wasn't even multiverse. It was the Spider-Man story right before Doc Ock took over his brain.
Oh, Superior Spider-Man.
Yeah, the one right before it that led into Superior. Beside the point, not related. Let's talk about Big Hero 6. Let me give y'all some stats. So yeah, 10 years old. Directed by Don Hall and Chris Williams. Screenplay by Jordan Roberts, Robert L. Baird, and Daniel Gerson. Starring a fantastic cast. We've got Adset as Baymax, Ryan Potter as Hiro Hamada, Daniel Henney as Tadashi Hamada, T.J. Miller, which, man, he's really fucking everything up
He's
for
had
himself
an
again.
interesting few years.
As Fred, Jamie Chung as Go-Go, Damon Wayans Jr. as Wasabi, and Genesis Rodriguez as Honey Lemon. We got a bunch of other fantastic people in the cast here. Special shout out to Maya Rudolph, who plays Aunt Cass. And as always, we shout him out whenever he is in literally anything. But shout out once again to Alan Tudyk.
Playing the CEO of Crytek.
Yeah, Alistair Cray.
Or-
God, he plays an asshole so well.
And it's just like what I love about this performance is it's basically just his voice as a pompous asshole. Like it is just Alan Tudyk. He's not like
Yeah, he's not
putting
doing
an
a voice.
accent to it or anything. He's not inflecting. He's not there's a lot of acting. There's a lot of emotion in the performance, but it's just his voice, which I think is great.
But yeah, this movie in general, like the cast is amazing, the animation is amazing. This was in 2014, where it
Right and
grossed-
around where you're losing yourselves to Frozen and Moana and all of these things coming out that really cemented this. I'm like Pixarification of Walt Disney Animation Studios, which I know is kind of everything post Princess and the Frog.
Well, 2014, one of the other best, what I consider to be one of the other best animated movies ever came out, which was How to Train Your Dragon 2. 2014 was a stacked year when it came to the Best Animated Picture category. We had The Tale of Princess Kaguya, Song of the Sea, How to Train Your Dragon 2, The Box Trolls, and Big Hero 6. Big Hero 6 obviously winning. But I think on top of that is also just how much money this movie made. Budget of $165 million, box office of $657.8 million. Like, they blew it out of the park. Everybody loves Big Hero 6. Like, even now we have Big Hero 6 representation in the theme parks. It got its TV series. Like, people love this.
It got the ultimate crossover in the fact that it featured in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. And was, in my opinion, the most beautiful, breathtaking world in Kingdom Hearts 3. And was
I think
also kind of establishing what the future of that game's franchise will be. But that's a Kingdom Hearts conversation.
Really want to go back and play Kingdom Hearts 3, and I've only done the one playthrough, and I'm really itching for another.
Should we just do a Kingdom Hearts 3 episode of the show at some point?
Fuck it, I'm down.
Okay, add it to the list.
I'll message Ant.
Oh, God, no, but Ant are going to fight about whether or not the game's good.
Exactly, it's gonna be great.
I don't want to... Okay, fine. I'm of the opinion that the game is fantastic. Yeah, we definitely got to do that. Because I am a massive Kingdom Hearts fan, in case y'all didn't know from the shit ton of Kingdom Hearts stuff I talk about. But yeah, it was... This movie is heartbreaking in so many moments to just build up. It just does such a great job of building you up, breaking you down, and building you back up in your emotions of this. I didn't mention him off the top, just because he's not in it. Oh yeah, no, actually, oh yeah, I did. But yeah, Daniel Henney as Tadashi. Tadashi is just a character that's like has stuck with me ever since this movie came out, and it's something I don't think it's ever gonna go away. Maybe that's partially just Big Brother in my head and whatnot, and figuring all that stuff out. But yeah, the loss of Tadashi in this movie is still heartbreaking to this day.
And it's one of those things where not being familiar with the source material coming into this and that being the sort of jumping off point to Hiro's journey is something that really struck a chord with me. I mean, I have a sibling. I haven't really thought about the loss of my sibling, and that would be, absolutely
Crushing.
devastating. So to see what Hiro goes through here, it's very easy to relate. It's very easy to get caught up in the emotion of the moment and the emotion of the storytelling that's going on.
Yeah, I think between that and then like Tadashi's friend group becoming his friend group through that, and then them developing their own unique relationship, like this movie is surprisingly nuanced for the stuff that it deals with, while also still being a superhero,
Fun,
beat up
action,
robots,
comedy, superhero jaunt, right?
Mm-hmm. All of that is so good. Plus, just there's so much to talk about with this movie. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry.
No, that's all good.
Plus, the mixing of San Francisco and Tokyo in all of this, bringing into that wonderful land of technology that this movie creates, of using that and like for all of the good that technology is doing, it still can't replace those human connections, those human emotions. Something I think that is really important right now, as we're talking so much about AI every goddamn day.
Yeah.
Like, this movie was before its time in so many ways, though it was only 10 years ago. So
Yeah,
good.
and it's really interesting too. Just even just the way this film tackles healthcare, and I mean, it's a big thing everywhere. But I mean, the idea of automated healthcare, privatizing healthcare, AI assisted or AI augmented healthcare is a really big thing right now. So seeing how, it's a Disney film, so it's going to put a positive spin on, these robotics projects that these kids are working on. But the idea of essentially Baymax is a robotic nurse or a robotic triage. He's a robot triage, basically, right? Where you can handle all the small stuff and leave the bigger stuff to doctors and surgeons and the like.
Baymax
But
is essentially just socialized healthcare.
Exactly. And it's kind of creepy when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Automated, yeah, the automated stuff of it, but also like one of my favorite things in this, and we see it a lot, is just the developing technology for the sake of bettering the world and bettering the technology versus the sake of developing technology to make a profit. That's a big part of this movie.
The use of technology for revenge is really the biggest thing here, right? That is Callahan's motivation. It is Hiro's motivation when he removes Baymax's healthcare chip the first time and violates Tadashi's sort of desire for what Baymax is meant to be.
It's kind of that reminder of like, these are still tools. Technology is still a tool. But yeah, I love that back and forth, like the way that Kretek is involved throughout the movie, of it being this, this reminder of, hey, here's the corporate side of all of this. Then you have the San Francisco Institute of Technology, which is much more of the let's see what we can develop and change the world.
How can we use this to better society?
Like, I really love that back and forth, and it's not something that's necessarily touched on a bunch in the movie, but is always a background element to it.
Yeah.
I have so many good memories of this movie. It was so fun sitting down and watching this again.
Oh my god, this is one that I go back to regularly because it's just so it's a roller coaster. It really is. Like the emotional journey that you go through with Hiro and with his friends, the highs and the lows of the comedic elements, the action. It's so beautifully animated and so beautifully framed. Like some of these shots are just, the cinematography here is something very special in terms of the way interior shots versus exterior shots are framed. It really gives you a sense of scope and size, with a lot of the hero moments, I would say, you know, with I mean, kind of a pun there, where Hero is
HE
creating
versus
these costumes
HI.
and all these suits and powers
The
for
frickin' Fallout Boy.
various- the oh my god, that song is a bop. But you get that hero moment that reminds me a lot of Iron Man 1, of time for a test flight. Baymax is in his gear. Let's get up there with the magnets. Let's do this. Like
That first flight is so great, and it's what I love about that flight is it is a great moment of like showing off the tech, showing how far they've come, but it's also showing Hero and Baymax's relationship, where Baymax is like, "You are having fun. We're gonna do this more."
yeah.
Like, it's so much of this is so good. It's also one of the most beautiful scenes in the movie, like when they're sitting up on the wind turbine. So cool. So cool. Also, I really wish we had those in real life, like these wind turbines collecting energy. Like, that's
The
just,
balloons, yeah.
yeah. So much, so great. Love this movie. Love everything that's come from this movie. I still need to go to Disneyland and see the little like San Francisco area food court that they have now.
Yeah, kind of disappointed that that went in like the year after I visited, I think. But even still, I just like, even just talking about the parks integration, my first trip as an adult to Walt Disney World where I got engaged, one of my favorite character meet and greet moments was Baymax, where it's just, there's a big fucking, you know, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man looking guy, and it's so
weirdly satisfying
genuine, so
to
nice.
It's weirdly satisfying to hug Baymax.
Very much so. I think top 2 hugs on that trip were Chewbacca and Baymax.
Chewbacca and Baymax. Yeah, Baymax.
Third
up
was
there.
Goofy. Goofy was awesome.
Beast was fun. Yeah, I love everything about this. I'll talk quickly about it because I know I've seen it and you haven't. Highly recommend watching the Big Hero 6 TV show as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where it's going on the list, and I'm going to.
It's one we'll do
Go
an
and check
episode
it
on
out.
eventually, so I can make you watch it because it's legitimately
No,
great.
I honestly, I plan on. I've been in this weird rut where it's like, okay, I've had X-Men '97 to watch every week, but I haven't really had a thing to binge or game. I'm really in this just rut, entertainment wise in general.
Yes, same.
But I've gone back to Daredevil.
Great show.
And I'm just about through season 1, and my goodness, can I not wait for us to talk weekly about Daredevil Born Again.
Man, yeah, I can't wait to do that episode
the-
on those 3 seasons next year.
The
Oh, wait.
16 episode season that became 9 episodes after a series of rewrites and reshoots.
I'm fine with it, honestly.
I am too, honestly. If that's the story that they want to tell, then let them tell it the way that it makes most sense.
Obviously, we have no qualms about spoiling Big Hero 6 in this episode. We're going to do a proper plot run through. Haven't done one of those in a little bit. Should keep saying that. We literally just did one with Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But
Before we get there, you talked about how stacked this year was for animation, 2014. The fact that Big Hero 6 did take home the Academy Award for Best Animated Film over Box Trolls, over How to Train Your Dragon 2, and the other 2 nominated films, Song of the Sea and The Tale of Princess Kaguya.
Kaguya.
Kaguya. It's just indicative to just how great this film is.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of movies that came out that year that were equally good.
Yeah.
And they're nowhere near there. Maybe not equally good, but definitely something that I think it's worth mentioning with the current company is that was the year we got the Scooby-Doo WrestleMania movie.
Oh my god. I don't think I've seen that.
I just know it
Probably
exists.
I do know it exists. It's also the year we got Lego Movie, wasn't it?
No, I thought Lego Movie won the year.
2014.
Oh yeah, no, it was number 4 on the box office.
February 1st, 2014.
Selfishly, while it may not be great, that was also the year that Disney released Planes, Fire, and Rescue. Which isn't a great movie, but I stand by the theme song for that movie being amazing.
Never seen it.
Also, we got Penguins of Madagascar that year as well from DreamWorks.
It's a film.
Hey, it did very well. So
Yes.
whether we like it or not, so much good. The music as well, I think, is something we've got to talk about before we start breaking stuff down. Like, obviously, the Fall Out Boy song rocks. Immortals is fantastic. But
Yep.
also, just
Great-
in
great
general,
song for this film.
the score for this is amazing.
Yeah, it's just it's cinematic, but it's also very kind of like techno in nature, almost it's like
Yeah.
this
Futuristic.
future retro kind of aesthetic, which I really
It is honestly, and like, I hate to use Disney to describe Disney. It is the music you expect to hear when walking through Tomorrowland.
Yes, that I think that's reasonable.
And then the other thing I want to shout out music-wise is actually, honestly, the trailers for this movie. The trailers for this movie used a song called "Top of the World" by Greek Fire. One of my favorite songs to date still. Highly recommend listening to it. Oh, also the score for What It's Worth, folks, was done by the wonderful, the amazing Henry Jackman. So it's not surprising at all that it is amazing.
It's fire, yeah.
We also do get a brief cameo here from Eye of the
And
Tiger.
the myth, the legend.
No, I mean, well, we got a lot of things. I'm talking music specifically.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Stanley.
We had
Stanley cameo.
we'll get to the Stanley cameo, but no, we got a very brief Eye of the Tiger moment, which is one of the funniest moments for me in this entire movie. The first 30 minutes of this movie alone are fantastic. Nonetheless, the rest, just the moment of like, let's do this thing. Bring the pen down to the paper. I got nothing.
No notes.
I need to look up something really quickly here.
You do.
Yeah,
This film is just one of those things where it's going to age so well because I don't think it does anything that's, particularly tied to when it released. It's very much a product of the creative vision behind it, and it's one of those things where it's not going to feel dated after 5 or 10 years just because we're looking at it 10 years later and it's still just as fun to watch now as it was 10 years ago, just because the way that it was designed, the way that all of the character animations and the animation style itself was carried out for the film is something that's just going to carry through.
So yeah, I was looking at something really quickly because I saw that so Disney Mirrorverse is this game that essentially has a bunch of like alternate, really cool looking versions of Disney characters. I saw that Hero and Baymax were in this game. I was like, oh god, I have to look up what they look like. They look cool. Nothing special. A couple of fun ones for you. The desk sergeant in this movie at the police station, Desk Sergeant Gerson, is named after Daniel Gerson, who wrote the screenplay. Also voiced by him.
Makes sense.
So that's kind of a fun one. All this time we've talked about all these wonderful things, and we haven't even yet talked about Yama.
Yeah.
Like this whole underground gangster robot fighting thing that's like really cool and awesome, especially like world building wise. And like it's just the tiniest part of this movie.
I would have loved there to be did you watch the Baymax shorts, right? When they
Oh,
released
yeah.
on Disney Plus? I would have loved there to have been an episode on that focused on the robot fighting underground, like the bot fights. For
that
some
would've
reason,
been
or at
fun.
least one of the characters from it, just cause.
The bot fights come back, or Yama in particular comes back a lot more in the show.
Okay, that's good to know.
But yeah, let's see. We mentioned Kingdom Hearts already. Worth noting that like Big Hero 6 also like did end up spinning off a few different games from it. That's just fun. A lot of it is is stuff like match 3 puzzle games. This was kind of that time where Disney was making a match 3 puzzle game out of like all of their IP.
Everything.
That Frozen one is still around somehow.
I've never played any of them, I don't think.
Yeah, but the one I want to shout out here is that there was a side-scrolling beat 'em up game set after the film for the 3DS for the Nintendo 3DS.
So similar to the rise of the Underminer for the Incredibles. That picked
Yes.
up right where the movie left off.
But not nearly as good, because Rise of the Underminer was a good game.
yeah, it's fair.
And as fun as this was not a good game. Also, they ended up eventually doing what they called a Disney 2-pack, which had this game, as well as Disney Frozen Olaf's Quest.
I'm sure that's a banger.
I need to like find this and play this. Criticisms include repetitive gameplay, lack of humor, and lack of appearances of other characters from the film. Yeah, I gotta play this game.
It's a tie-in game. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, Big Hero 6, widely beloved. Anything else you want to talk about with this movie before we talk about the plot?
Nah, let's do it.
Oh, I forgot to mention, my art for this. I gotta talk about that. So I mentioned like I almost got in trouble with Disney because of this movie.
Oh, right.
So this was back in the time where I was actually doing artwork still. I was taking a graphic design class in school, and one of our projects in that class was like to make a bunch of posters. It could be about anything. Big Hero 6 had just come out. I loved it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make a bunch of my own versions of movie posters for these and whatnot. And I made this one design that I really liked that I tried to put into a Redbubble competition for Big Hero 6. I had made this design that was essentially like the outline of Baymax, and then inside of Baymax was the outline of Tadashi. And I was like, okay, great, this is fun. Added in a little bit of like the San Francisco skyline into it. Nothing like super special or whatnot. Was like, got it, made the design. Put some text. I don't think I even put text on it. But put it in, submitted it to it. A couple days later, response back, got an email. Hi, we're sorry. We cannot accept your design into this. And I was looking into it. Apparently, it was too similar to a design that Disney was already going to be turning into one of their T-shirts.
Oh, yeah, that would do it, I guess.
And I had no idea they were making this thing. I had no idea what they had planned. But I knew I liked this idea, so I made this idea.
Yeah.
And I'm like, glad to know that it was good at least. So anyways, yeah, there's a fun story for you. Let's talk about the plot. This movie takes place in the city of San Francisco, starting on a bot fight where this gangster, Yama, just absolutely is trouncing these people. And then absolutely gets his ass handed to him by Hiro Hamada, who plays him like a fiddle.
I was gonna say, not even gets trounced. He gets fucking swindled.
It's such a great moment too of like,
what a good grift. Like,
so good. Like pull it out. I feel like pulling out the crinkled dollar bills at the beginning was just like, oh no, that's the icing
so
on the
good.
cake. They run off.
Lunch money, sir.
He runs off, trying to not get killed by a gangster. Running into his brother, who saves him as they're running away. Eventually, they get stopped by the cops. We get the single most like Big Brother screen of this entire movie here of Hiro in a prison cell by himself, and then all of the gangsters and Tadashi and Tadashi just staring at Hiro.
Why you do this?
They're eventually brought out by Aunt Cass, who gets pissed at them but also loves them and starts stress eating. Aunt Cass is fantastic and wonderful and amazing.
Something else I want to just say is I'm really glad the film. I don't know if the show does it all, but I'm really glad the film didn't like try to delve into what happened to Hiro and Tadashi's parents. They're not around. Aunt Cass is their guardian. Aunt Cass is Aunt Cass. It gives me a lot of like Spider-Man vibes.
I don't think the show ever did.
That's good to hear, because I feel like the most interesting thing about Spider-Man is that he is raised by like May and Ben, have a lot of influence over who he is as a person, and that lends itself to who he is as Spider-Man. And I feel like we get a very similar sense here with Hiro, especially after Tadashi's untimely end, where a lot of his relationship with Cass just influences who he is and what he tries to do in terms of trying to better himself and help others be better, and carry on his brother's legacy. Right? That's probably why I like this movie so much, because I love Spider-Man, and Hero is essentially just Peter Parker.
If it ain't broke, right?
It's given great power, great responsibility. He has a family member who dies tragically, leaving them with a
We'll get there. We'll
vague
get
mission
there. He's
statement.
still alive as far as I'm concerned.
We've already talked about it. God damn it.
We're just not there yet in the plot, okay? We have a whole montage to go
Fine,
through
I'll
first.
Stop. Go.
But yeah, Tadashi agrees to let Hiro go to another pot fight, but he's going to take him. But first they stop off at his nerd school, as Hiro calls it, where we get introduced to the rest of Tadashi's friends, Gogo, Wasabi, Honey Lemon, and Fred, as well as Baymax, Professor Robert Callahan. Hiro is just absolutely impressed by the school and throws away all bot fighting because he's like, I gotta go here, which is A+ move on Tadashi's part. Like,
Oh, yeah.
10 out of 10. Great job, dude. Hiro struggles to come up with an idea, eventually realizing he can repurpose some of his ideas from his bot fighting bot.
I was going to say, I love we get this great moment where Tadashi's showing Hiro through the lab, and he's showing his bot to Professor Callahan. And it's just like, oh yeah, I've got these, servo.
Want to
things,
see how I
and
put
they're
them together?
like, magnetic servos. It's like, yeah, you want to see how they work? And then Tadashi just, he invented a dumbass.
Again, Tadashi is just perfect older brother. Like, I love it.
It's so good. The humor here is just so much fun.
Yeah. Callahan. Yeah, it's for me. It was Callahan's Laws of Robotics. Oh shit. Yeah, Hiro.
Like episode on iRobot 1.
Yeah, I love the Hero creates these microbots that are essentially just like an extension of Robert Callahan's work, which really plays in well to him using them as Kabuki.
Yeah.
So we do that. He builds those. He builds a bunch of them. He builds 12 freaking trash cans worth of microbots, which seems excessive, but
it works.
But it works. He gets in. Gets a grant. He's accepted. They're all going to go off to celebrate, but Tadashi and him go walk away to have their own moment, which is super sweet and wonderful, but is unfortunately short-lived by a fire set off in the hall. Callahan is cut inside. Tadashi rushes in. Hiro is about to rush in behind him, but as he does, everything goes kablooey. And Tadashi and Callahan die. Or at least so we think on Callahan. Movie cuts a couple weeks later. Hiro is just completely taken over by grief. And accidentally activates Baymax. The humor is off the charts of this scene. Especially just the moment when he knocks over the shelf and his toys just start falling on him and Baymax can't finish his on a scale from 1 to 10, how do you rate your pain line? So good. So good. I love this movie so much, man. Eventually, though, in finding some stuff, he finds one of his old microbots, realizing that it's trying to go join its friends. Baymax, not fully understanding what a Hero was saying, finds where the microbot is trying to go.
I love, like, this style of humor of just, like, it's almost like Drax and Guardians of the Galaxy, where everything is taken literally. And it leads to some really humorous situations, and I really appreciate that.
It's so great because,
that
like,
style of storytelling. It's a great trope.
It's great because it's such a hard style of humor to do. Like, you have to have a character that is 100% sincere, and it works so perfectly with Baymax.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Baymax goes off, finds the stuff. That's when they discover a man dressed in all black wearing a kabuki mask, who is mass producing microbots. Hiro and Baymax are eventually found out by the man and run off before he tries to kill them, presuming that this is the man who caused the fire, Hero decides to get revenge. At this point, they head off to a police station. They head off to the police station. Who they just do not believe him, because what he's saying is kind of insane. Of like, you're telling me a man in a kabuki mask is making robots. He basically decides, okay, we gotta deal with this ourselves. I gotta avenge my brother. I'm gonna make some awesome armor and stuff for Baymax.
The fact he has this advanced of a 3D printer just sitting in his garage is kind of crazy. Like,
well, have you seen like the rest of the tech in this world? Like, it weirdly makes sense.
It's a carbon fiber 3D printer.
Look, this idealistic world, okay?
Fine.
Yeah, he starts to make stuff. Baymax trying to, help Hero, contacts Hero's friends, or contacts Tadashi's friends, who are all trying to be like, hey, we're here to help you get through this. He eventually ends up souping up all of them with armor and abilities and fun stuffs. And they go off to pursue yokai, yokai is what they're calling it.
Yokai.
Right, makes more sense than kabuki.
Man in the kabuki mask.
Yeah. They try, fail the first time. So they try and fail the first time, ending up in the water, or ending up in the harbor. Baymax saves all of them. They go to Fred's house, where we get a fantastic joke of everyone really just assumed Fred was, like, essentially homeless. And it turns out
Turns out he's loaded.
There, he upgrades the armor, gives everybody their inventions and whatnot. And they're like, okay, we're going to beat yokai this time for sure. Looking into it, figuring out, like, okay, who could it possibly be? They think that yokai is most likely to be Cray, who wanted to buy Hero's microbots in the first place. After they tracked one of those microbots, they tracked yokai using an advanced version of Baymax's scanner, which is so cool. I love that that's the tech they use. To an abandoned Crytek laboratory on what is essentially Alcatraz Island. They go there, though, and discover the lab was used to research teleportation. Having this government program that was shut down after a test pilot disappeared inside the portal. The group is then ambushed by yokai. Hero able to finally knock off the mask, and they learn that it is in fact not Cray, it is actually Callahan. Upon some more research and all this, we learned that the test pilot who had disappeared,
supposedly perished,
was his daughter. And Cray could have stopped it, but didn't, because money.
Money.
At which point, I'm starting to agree with Callahan. If we're really being honest here. Callahan is another one of those people where it's like, man, if you didn't kill Tadashi, I would have been right here with you, man. But you killed one of the best characters to come out of this movie. So.
Yep.
But yeah, realizing like he's trying to stop all of this from happening again. He's trying to punish Kree for this. Hero is absolutely pissed. And removes the healthcare chip from Baymax, in Hero's words, or in Tadashi's words, what makes Baymax Baymax. He is trying to get him to kill Callahan. And unsurprisingly, things go horribly wrong.
Who would have been? Who would have thunk?
Yeah, things go bad. He's obeying Hero's command, but for the rest of the team manages to get the healthcare chip back in. As Callahan escapes. Hero takes off with Baymax because he's just pissed and also is, again, a child. Kind of feels betrayed, whatnot. Tries to take out the healthcare chip again, but Baymax will not let him. Here we get probably the most heartbreaking scene in the entire movie.
Yes, but also just the fact that Baymax is self-aware enough that he would not allow someone to remove that chip is just one step. Like, Baymax is cute, which keeps us that one step away from Terminator levels that we're expecting this to get to, because we're basically there. You take that chip away and Baymax is just going to destroy fucking everything. But he has the self-awareness as a goddamn robot to not let that happen.
I don't think it's him. I think it's Tadashi's. I think that's Tadashi's programming.
Yes.
Especially when what this leads into. Oh, I still think that it's you take this one step further and this whole world is terrifying.
Yeah. If you take this idealized, future modernist society and put it into the real world, it would just fucking explode.
Let me introduce you all to Cyberpunk 2099.
Let me just introduce you to Western civilization over the last 2 centuries.
Well, I'm just saying that's where we're going. Yeah, we get I think that this is the most heartbreaking moment for me, though, is the Tadashi is here. Yeah. And he just keeps repeating it, and Hiro's like, no, he's not. And then we get to see the videos of Tadashi working on Baymax. And it's just so beautiful. This is the part that kills me. Every single time without fail.
Yeah, and I love how this is mirrored in the final scene of the movie as well. With Hiro bringing Baymax back online. It's just
so good. So good.
Following in his brother's footsteps.
Yeah.
It's still fucking good.
At this point, Hiro apologized to Baymax, apologized to the rest of his friends. They discover the info about Callahan's daughter. Realize that what Callahan is trying to do is he's going to reactivate one of the teleportation portals to demolish Crytek. They have to stop him, though, because this portal could destroy literally everything. They head off to do so, and we get some... I love that throughout this entire superhero narrative, there is very little actual fighting.
Which is kind of... again, it harkens back to something like... I mean, I don't want to draw comparisons to the MCU, but, this is Iron Man, right? It's the trial and error. It's the genius at work.
Now, see, this is what they want to be. Iron Man is still heavily based in combat. Here, there is no his entire thing.
That one combat at the end. There's the cave escape, and then
his entire existence is based around weapons.
Well, that is true. Yeah.
Here, where it's they're not, the big final fight is not against somebody. It is them destroying the tech so that he can't keep doing the thing. Love that they're...
It's more against the idea of using the tech for bad.
I guess I love that they're following that specific rule within robotics of, at least where we're at now, which could easily be changed, the world could be fucked, of a robot shall not hurt a person. I love that we're focused on that, and that is something that's so core to Big Hero 6. No, we are here to help you. We're not here to hurt. I love that. And I wish that we could emulate that more in other types of media, but I understand why we don't. Look, my video game nerd, my video game developer heart is man, I wish I could translate that into a game, but I genuinely do not know how.
You hire the team at Walt Disney Animation Studios, Square Enix did, and you share assets, and you make a game that just looks as good as the damn movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's more of that idea of no, we're not going to fight people. We're going to help people. I want to translate that into more media. But yeah, they beat up they send all of the microbots into the portal. But while they're breaking things down and while the portal is about to finally be destroyed, Baymax detects a life sign in the portal, them realizing it is in fact Abigail. Kree is at this point being hey, you guys should not do this. This portal is very unstable. But Hiro and Baymax enter regardless and find Abigail trapped in hypersleep. Baymax, though, is hit by a bunch of debris, and his armor is broken. And Hero is forced to leave him behind. It's a very, very sad moment. Making Hero say, "I'm satisfied with my care." Okay, fuck you, Baymax. You did not need to make him say that. You just did that to make him cry.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love it,
That's
though.
Sadashi for you.
Yeah. Baymax uses his rocket fist to propel Hero and Abigail out of the portal before it is destroyed. Abigail's taken to the hospital. Callahan is arrested. Hero ends up going back to... Everyone goes back to school, goes back to normal. While Hero's working one day, he gives Baymax's fist their normal fist bump, the blah, 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 blah. Which is another great rippling effect from this movie. Finding inside the fist Baymax's healthcare chip. He ends up...
How does he do that?
I don't care. It's adorable.
No, because we saw as soon as the chip's taken out, he goes full murder mode. And it didn't happen that time. Has he just downloaded the contents of the chip into the rest of the robot? And if so, does that make himself aware? And he was aware enough that he could remove the chip but not change his own personality because he'd already absorbed the information? It breaks my brain, Griffin! It breaks my brain!
There is an answer to all of this. And it's answered in Kingdom Hearts 3. The answer is Kingdom Hearts bullshit, by the way. No, basically, I think that it doesn't make sense at all, but it's an adorable situation that I'm fine with because it's cute. Yeah, he finds that, rebuilds Baymax. They have this wonderful moment of Baymax, his memories of Hero being in the chip, so he remembers him. And it's adorable and wonderful, and they continue to protect the city as a team of superheroes known as Big Hero 6. Then we get the post-credit scene where Fred stumbles upon a superhero lair in his house, and it is the lair of none other than Stan Lee. And we get a hilarious, impressive, if not disgusting, cameo between them about how they reuse their underwear 4 times before putting it in the laundry. Because that was an entire bit that they had in this movie. Multiple times. I don't know why this was
I'm just going to
used.
download Kingdom Hearts 3 because you keep talking about it, so I'm going to play it.
Yeah, it's definitely the easiest to go back to gameplay-wise.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Also, we should have hopefully hear about Kingdom Hearts 4 this year. Anyways, that's it. That's the movie. Again, Big Hero 6, top tier, probably one of the best movies we will talk about on this show. Like, not only is it one of my favorite Disney movies ever, it is one of my favorite movies ever.
Do you know Kingdom Hearts 3 is in the game catalog for PlayStation Plus Extra?
I did not. Never really needed to because I own every Kingdom Hearts game physically.
Yeah, I thought I owned it too, but maybe... Oh, no, you know what it was? It was PS4 game, so I owned it on disc.
Yeah. Yeah, all of mine are physical, and they're over on the shelf in my bedroom.
Yeah, but I don't have a
You don't have a
disc-based
disc.
PS5, so
Gotcha.
I need to do this.
Yeah, I made a point to get that because I knew I had so many physical games that I can jump back to and replay once in a while. But yeah, that's Big Hero 6. This movie is fantastic and amazing and wonderful, and the best thing we will ever talk about. I obviously will talk about great things ever. I just really love this movie.
It's a great movie. I'm with you.
If you've enjoyed this hanging out, thank you for listening. Go watch Big Hero 6. Just go watch the movie right now.
Or, join me in a watch of the show. Because that's kind of where I'm at. If I'm not replaying Kingdom Hearts 3 or mucking around with some emulation stuff, I'm going to go watch that show.
Yeah, go watch that show. We'll do an episode on that show eventually.
We'll do an episode on Kingdom Hearts 3 eventually. I did confirm with Ant. He is available.
Okay,
he just
sweet.
said give him 10 hours notice and record on a weekend so he can play the entirety of the game in one sitting and then record the podcast.
Jesus, Ant. Even I'm not that
He's a
dedicated
lunatic
to
when it
this
comes
idea.
to Kingdom Hearts, which is why this is going to be great.
So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Mitch, if people want to keep up with our shenanigans, where can people find us?
At D plus us in all the places. Twitter, X, Machina, whatever you want to call it, YouTube, all the places.
Twitter X Machina is good. I like that one. Yeah, find
I
us
just made that
everywhere.
up on the spot.
Find us. Check out our other stuff. We will be back in the next episode. But until then, have a magical day.
Can I say Excelsior for this one?
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of Marvel. It's kind of not.
I think you should do it.
So I'm just going to give it Excelsior.